if we are going to form this united Africa, have one flag, one national anthem, one military, open borders, one Africa, what is going to happen to the identities of our countries? So our identities no longer matter. They no longer matter. The main focus is going to be the identity of Africa. When we've worked so hard on our country's identity, so it's something that we must just now neglect. Let's leave this thing of what it means to be a South African and focus on what it means to be an African. Is that what this whole thing is about? Okay, I understand this thing that is busy being pushed by these South African pan-Africanists and most Africans here around Africa. Ukuthi, we must unite and become a single Africa. We must form a united front, have one military, one currency, one national flag, one national anthem, all these things that these people keep on saying that must happen here in Africa. The question that I have and the question that I want to pose to these people who always say this is, what should happen to the identities of our countries individually? You know, most of our countries, like South Africa, for example, we have an identity. Ukuthi, okay, this is how you tell a South African. South Africans have these types of values. South Africans believe in these types of things. They are these types of people. It's our identity. Even when you go to other countries in the West, Asia, or whatever, when they ask you, where do you come from? I come from South Africa. What kind of people are South Africans? You can tell them, Guti, this is the type of people we are in South Africa. It's our identity. Our identity is different from those in Nigeria. The Nigerians, they have their own identity. You can tell a Nigerian, this is a Nigerian, from the beliefs, the way he's doing things, his identity. You can tell a Mozambican from his beliefs, his identity, the way he does things, how he represents himself as a Mozambican. So, if we are going to form this united Africa, have one flag, one national anthem, one military, open borders, one Africa, what is going to happen to the identities of our countries? So our identities no longer matter. They no longer matter. The main focus is going to be the identity of Africa. When we've worked so hard on our country's identity, so it's something that we must just now neglect. Let's leave this thing of what it means to be a South African and focus on what it means to be an African. Is that what this whole thing is about? So let's take our South African flag. Our South African flag symbolizes a lot of things. We were learning about it in primary and things like that. The black color means this, black people, the color, you know, it has a meaning. That means something to us as a nation, as South Africa. It represents our history. It represents our present. Do you understand? It means something to us. It's our identity. So, if we are now going to have a flag for Africa, will that mean that flag for Africa has to be above our South African flag, which is so dear to us? Is that what it's all about? Because if that's what it's all about, then that's not something that I want to partake in. I would rather stick to my South Africa because it means something to me. You know, what I fail to understand when a lot of these people talk like this, you know, we must come together, this thing of countries having different flags, having different what is not okay because we are all the same. That is very funny to me. It's very funny to me because what's interesting about Africa is the diversity that is within Africa. When you go to South Africa, it's different from when you go to Nigeria. When you go to South Africa, you must find South Africans there doing South African things. When you go to Nigeria, you must find Nigerians there doing Nigerian things. When you go to Malawi, you must find Malawians there doing Malawian things. Are you telling me, Guti, our continent is going to be interesting if, okay, take someone maybe from the West wants to visit Africa for the first time, and then he wants to go to Burkina Faso, for example. And then when that person gets to Burkina Faso, in Burkina Faso there's Burkina Fasos, there's Nigerians, there's Zimbabweans, it's mixed masala. There's no like direct authenticity. Uguti, this is Burkina Faso and the people of Burkina Faso live like this. Isn't that more interesting? Than Uguti, you get to Burkina Faso, but The culture of Burkina Faso is overshadowed by all the cultures that are within Burkina Faso that come from outside Burkina Faso. Are you telling me that's an interesting picture? To me, that's not an interesting picture. To me, what's interesting is if I, as a South African, decide to go and visit Ethiopia. When I get to Ethiopia, I don't want to deal with Nigerians when I get there. I don't want to deal with Pakistanis when I get there. I want to deal with Ethiopians because I am in Ethiopia. I want to see how Ethiopians identify themselves when it comes to different aspects of life. I want to know how they live, their beliefs, how they think, their mindsets. What can I learn from them without the influence of people from the outside? When I go to Nigeria, I want to experience Nigerians. I want to see how Nigerians live, how they think. I want to see Nigerians there. I don't want to go to Nigeria. When I get to Nigeria, I have to deal with South Africans when I get there. That's the identity that I'm talking about. The authenticity of our countries. Why are we trying to overshadow that thing as if it's not important? The thing that's most important is Africa. Africa is a very big continent. It's the biggest continent in the world. It's a very, very big continent with a lot of different countries which share very different interests, beliefs, opinions, and even ways of life. Bringing all these countries together form one military. Like realistically, do you see that thing happening? Think about it. Just take a moment and take this thing of Pan-Africanism out of your mind and try to imagine this thing in your head. One military that represents the whole of Africa. What kind of military will that be? Just try to imagine it. Imagine the countries that are within Africa and how they do things. How different these countries here in Africa are when it comes to military, from a military aspect. Just think about it. And then tell me, Woody, how is that military going to be? Just imagine it. People, let's think realistically. Let's not wish for things that we can see. Woody, these things won't happen. And even if they happen, they won't do us any good. What we need to do is to focus on our countries. Here in South Africa, here, in Mzansi, where I live, my beautiful country, we are not perfect. There's still tribalism here in South Africa. Kunabantu who are Zulu abangathandi amaPedi. Kunabantu who are Venda abangazwani namaNdebele. Usho nakabona umuntu oyindebele nje. Hayi, yabo, kunabantu nje who are Swati abangazwani namaZulu. Usho umSwati wakhona nje makabona umZulu nje ukuthi aphalaze. There's people like that in South Africa. There's tribalism here in South Africa. We are not united like 100% here in South Africa. And it's not South Africa kuphela. All these other countries in Africa. The tribes within the countries are fighting with themselves. Azizwani kwazona inhlanga ezingaphakathi kwayo lezizwe lezizinye. Even South Africa. But people think ukuthi it's a good idea ukuthi sihlanganise the whole of Africa. Hayi man. Just think about this thing realistically. Let's focus first on uniting South Africa. When a Zulu person sees a Venda, abona ubhuti wakhe. When a Venda person sees a Ndebele person, abona ubhuti wakhe. When a Swati person sees a Xhosa person, abona usisi wakhe. Until we reach that stage in South Africa, you can count us out of this thing of uniting Africa. So, what I'm trying to say is, let's not lose the authenticity of our countries, the identity of our countries, just because of a delusion that we have in our heads of something that will not happen. Of something that even if it happens, it won't end well. Let us focus on fixing our countries. We have a very beautiful continent with very beautiful people. The people of Africa are beautiful. And what makes the people of Africa beautiful is the diversity. How different we are from each other. We don't need to act as if we are the same. Us being different doesn't mean we hate each other or we should hate each other. We are different in our own beautiful ways. We are not the same. We can't just look at skin color. We are not the same. We are not the same. We are really not the same. Yes, I don't understand when people say we are the same. Yes, the color. But a person is not the color. It's deeper than that. And if you go deeper, you will start to see we are not the same at all. But we are all beautiful. Let's try to focus on our countries and make our countries beautiful. Our countries are unique and special. Let's respect our countries individually, love our countries individually, fight for our countries. We can help each other here and there when help is needed, but not to force all of us to say we must be one thing. No. Some of us like our individuality as countries. Some of us love being called South African, not just African or whatever the name will be for that United Africa. Some of us actually appreciate how different we are. So let's try to focus on our countries, fix our countries, make our countries more beautiful, and leave this thing of wishing for something that will not happen. South Africans, focus on Mzansi. Nigerians, focus on Nigeria. And if you are a Nigerian, you are here in South Africa illegally, you are watching me right now, go back home and focus on Nigeria. If you are Zimbabwean, you are illegal here in Mzansi, you are watching me right now, go back to Zimbabwe and focus on Zimbabwe. It's as simple as that. We don't need to act as if we are the same, so we must come together. So that's just what I wanted to talk about in today's video. So if you enjoyed this video or you learned something new, please leave a like and subscribe to this channel. I would really appreciate it. Also, tell me on the comment section down below, Guti, do you agree with me when I say we shouldn't try to kill the identities of our countries just for this thing of a united Africa, and focus on our countries, make them more beautiful, more authentic? You get what I mean? Or you think I'm wrong? We should just put those things secondly and focus on Africa. Yeah, well, our identity as a country doesn't matter. What matters is the identity of Africa. If that's what you think, tell me on the comment section and tell me how that thing is going to benefit us and how it's going to help us as a country. My name is Emmanuel, and this is Mzansi Versity, the place where we transform lives through knowledge and information. Let's meet again on another video.